not the Ambassadors, NetSquared Organizers group.
On Facebook?
Yeah, on Facebook. Let's see if that comes through at all. Oh, I see something. This is very boring.
Lots of people.
You've got it into Facebook.
I think I have.
Wow.
So that's pretty interesting. Let's see if anyone is online right now. And
I only see me. Look at it.
Yeah, so you're getting obviously some little delay, so I'm sure there's quite
Well,
a
I
bit
didn't
of...
put the,
Oh.
you know?
So that's pretty interesting. Okay, so there's a delay of what, like 20 seconds or so? Anyways, I'm going to shut that down so we don't have the sound going to the sound going to the sound.
Yeah.
Okay, so that works. Interesting. Well, why don't we then just say hello to people? Because why not? Not that I see that anyone is viewing us right now.
Not yet.
But it often will tell you, like, gathering your audience. Things are going to come together. So, hi there. This is Eli. I'm in Washington, D.C. for 17NTC and also the NetSquared Ambassadors annual gathering, where I bring together some of the more veteran, experienced, engaged organizers in the network. And we basically talk about how are we doing, like what's working, how can we succeed and support you better. You've got some of the ambassadors here, others couldn't make it because of all kinds of crazy logistic reasons, but let's do a really quick hello. Why don't we start with Birgit?
Well, hi. My name is Birgit Pauli-Haag, and I'm NetSquared organizer in Naples, Florida, and the regional ambassador for Southeast United States.
Fabulous. And next we have got Paul.
Hi, I'm Paul Webster. I'm the NetSquared Ambassador for the UK and Europe, and I run, or co-run with Pauline, the NetSquared Midlands group, which covers the Birmingham and sort of central England region.
Cool. My name is Eli. I'm the NetSquared Community Manager and also the longtime organizer with a couple others of NetSquared Vancouver in Canada. And then right here to my right, your left.
Hello, my name is Edna. I'm the NetSquared organizer in Kampala. At the same time, the NetSquared Ambassador for East Africa South.
Fabulous. So you're going to watch us have a boring meeting right now, but you can help make it less boring by commenting on this live stream here on Facebook. So we look forward to your feedback. Otherwise, we're going to dive into it.
Well, welcome Kamburuta Ali, attending online from Tanga, Tanzania.
Excellent.
Ah. Interesting.
Yeah.
Excellent. So, you know, thanks for joining us here today, experimenting with this live stream video. If this works and is useful in some way, we'll experiment with other forms. But, you know, let's just see if this is useful, if the sound comes through okay, all that good stuff. So we're going to go into the second half of our meeting here today. And I think what we are really going to talk about was, do you want to talk about NetSquared Network more generally, or do you want to talk about sort of our ambassador roles and what we think is working and what needs more clarity or support?
While we all think about it.
I know, we're getting very nervous about the camera all of a sudden.
Yes. Yeah, well, I want to say hi to Adriana from Macedonia.
Yeah, I was just going to say hello.
Oh, fabulous. Hi there. So Adriana, I got to meet her at the TechSoup Europe Partners Summit. And actually I think she's going to the event next week in San Francisco, which will be the Global Partner Summit for TechSoup. I'm basically going to go and schmooze all of the global TechSoup partners and tell them how amazing NetSquared is and why they should either host a group or support their local group.
Awesome. So what was the question again, Ila?
So basically, I'm saying like we can go two directions now. We can talk about. Well, actually, no. I'm gonna say let's talk about the NetSquared Ambassador role. So I'd like to hear a little bit more about. Like, let's just start off with what we think is working with that right now. So I'll tell you what I think is working. And I know that because I actually been tracking it over the last year. So when I went through and tracked the referrals that came through from NetSquared Ambassadors over the last 12 months, what I learned is that 1/3 of the groups that have been created in that time have been created through direct referrals from NetSquared Ambassadors. Similarly, we saw that around groups that were active. NetSquared Ambassadors had helped prod to activity or starting about 1/3 of the network. So basically, the 7 NetSquared Ambassadors, who are all purely volunteers, are, as far as I can tell, basically responsible for 1/3 of the activity within the NetSquared network, which to me was remarkable. Like, I was like, oh, this thing's working. These volunteers who have stepped up to help support their peers in their own community are actually having a lot of success. And sometimes you guys may not see it because you're there in the nitty-gritty day-to-day parts of it, but actually it's so valuable for organizers to hear from somebody who isn't me. It's super easy to tune me out because it's always me. And they're like, yeah, I've already heard from Eli, let me ignore them. But if you're Paul and you're on the road and you get to stop by someone's community, take them out for coffee and talk about the NetSquared opportunity, that's hugely valuable. Or if you're going to a local conference like you have, Birgit, and got to talk to other organizers within the network and other nonprofit techies, we've seen that turns into new organizers. Or if you pick up the phone and are able to talk to someone in their time zone and get the local context, we've seen from your work, Edna, that people who didn't quite understand the network, didn't quite understand what the NetSquared role is, because I'm just going to barrage them with a whole bunch of emails, actually people get it when they get to talk to a fellow organizer and not me who's in like this management role and speaks in a way that's maybe less direct to people. So from my experience, the ambassadors have been revolutionary within NetSquared because we've allowed us to grow. Basically, all the growth that's happened in the last 2 years isn't because of me. We've grown 30%. You guys contributed 30%. So clearly, everything that's happening right now is because the ambassadors have brought that extra capacity into our network and allowed us to grow it. That's my experience, and that's what I think is a huge success around the ambassador program. What for you is like? What have you liked about the role?
Let me add on to what you said. What has worked in the ambassador role is ability to have a leader. To become a NetSquared organizer, there are so many NetSquared organizers, but it is very easy for the organizers to run astray or to lose focus if they do not have a leader. This leader works directly with Teksu and is able to receive guidance, is able to receive advice and pass it on and be able to lead the organizers in a more defined and clear direction. I think that's very key to a NetSquared organizer. Sorry, a NetSquared ambassador.
I agree. I'd also like to add, sort of looking at it from the other angle as well, is being an ambassador is good to be able to share at a meetup that you are part of a bigger picture. So what we always do at our meetups is we share with our participants that on that night or that afternoon there are also maybe 3 or 4, half a dozen other meetups around the world that are also happening on that same day. And we try to share even what some of the topics of them are, sort of in our introductory warm-up part of the meetups. Mainly to get across to people that we're not, you might sometimes think that your non-profit, the problems that you're finding or that people are coming to you with around technology are unique to your part of the world, or something that nobody else can possibly be having the same issues that we're having with technology, or asking the same questions. But actually, with 80 meetups around the world, there are so many other people that are going through the same sort of things and have probably already cracked that nut. So if you go onto the meetup group, or just do some sort of asking around, looking at the other meetups that are happening, you'll find resources that will help your groups and your organisations. So it's good sometimes to be reminded that we are part of a global network of non-profits, all doing not largely the same sort of thing, but we're all trying to use technology for good. We're all trying to change the world, one non-profit at a time through technology. We're all trying to answer those questions, and by showing people that we are part of that global network, I think that's a good role that we can play. It's quite easy for an individual non-profit to forget about the bigger picture. But, if we can bring that home to them. Yeah.
Yeah, and that's what I try to do, but I know it's so valuable to have other people who can say it in a different way, or who are close and can actually make a phone call. Or what I also see is really valuable within the network is like, NetSquared organizers are sharing presenters amongst each other, or event ideas. Like, the social media surgery didn't come from me. That came from Stephen Flower bringing it to the NetSquared network via the UK, and now it's been in Latin America. It's been held in East and West Africa. It's like, basically NetSquared is able to take this UK-based thing and bring this idea meme out into the rest of the world. And so that's like, I think this peer support is super helpful.
Yeah, what I find, however, is it's still very individualistic, which is okay. Yeah, kind of whoever you make the contact with, and then try to help them start up a group. Yeah, it's more, in my region, definitely more reactive than active. Pursuing things, and then I'm also kind of seeing that quite a few groups are inactive that had been active or didn't get off the ground well enough to kind of be an ongoing thing. And I think what we need to work at is to find a way to see the early signs when something is kind of weaning off, to kind of catch that, not only to catch the organizer before burnout, because that's mostly why they drop out, or because they move on, and to see if we can help the other co-organizer to kind of take it over and kind of make it their own thing. Yeah, because all of a sudden, like in one group, the organizer who started it and who was an organizer in a different country, city before, and started it, hasn't been active, and then the co-organizers also are not active. Yeah, so kind of the group doesn't work that well.
Well, we've got two organisers at our meetup in Birmingham, but the model that I think is working really well at the moment is in London, which is another UK one, where they've got 5 co-organisers. So that if somebody is feeling the pressure, or has got a deadline at work, because all 5 of the co-organisers in the London meetup have all got day jobs. So NetSquared is only sort of something they do
on top of everything else.
So by having that range of people that are the co-organisers, if somebody's feeling the pressure 1 month and they just can't take any part in it, then there are enough people, it's got the resilience to keep going. And it's also a really good way to share ideas as well. When there's only 1 of you or 2 of you, it's down to just you to come up with the ideas every month. But having 4 or 5 organisers, there's always going to be some new idea, or somebody with a slightly different mix, slightly different take on the way that technology is developing for non-profits can really help shape future meetups.
There's something you mentioned taking it and making it your own thing. I guess that's a key role as ambassadors we get to play, because you will find, talking from the experience back with the organizers that I relate with, some of them still look at NetSquared as it's the TechSoup product, it's the TechSoup thing. So as ambassadors, we have a key role there that we need to play to make them realize it's not the TechSoup game, it's not the Elijah game, it is ours. They need to own it. So we as ambassadors have got to find a way of making them own it, because when they own it, then the level of sustainability comes in.
Right.
Then the level of creativity to make it work comes in. And then the level of what we discussed earlier of having only one person come for the meeting, and then you don't give up, you go on and on, you get creative until you get more people. All that comes in just with that, making it your own.
That is, to me, one of the most central insights about what makes NetSquared work is local organizers have a huge sense of ownership. It is not a standard volunteer job where you're like, I'm helping this organization accomplish their mission. Successful organizers are always about, my group is helping local NetSquared, like local nonprofits, accomplish their mission, but it's my group, and I make all the decisions. And I think that is totally, how do we build that sense of ownership and make people feel that sense of ownership, as opposed to waiting for NetSquared to come and help them
I think that's
identify what the group should be.
I would turn it around a little bit. I think it's also a danger to come in as an ambassador and tell people what to do.
Very dangerous.
Because
it's got to be grassroots, right?
It definitely, what we need to do is, or what I try to do, and I think I'll accomplish it, but with a few of them, is that I find out what they want to accomplish and encourage them, and then give them permission. I kind of, it's, yes, what they always crave is the acknowledgement and the permission to go the bold way, to go the off the beaten path and try something new, because that's who they are. They're going to find them where they are.
And I guess the different settings matter also, because you cannot come up with one conventional way. You've got to allow for flexibility and adaptation in the different settings.
And if it doesn't succeed, that's okay too.
It's okay.
So if you try a format and your community doesn't react to it, and only 4 people show up, we learn something. But it's at least we tried. We cannot just argue about it, and until we try, we see what works and what doesn't work. But it's kind of a giving permission to try something.
That's true.
Yeah, I think that is another insight, which is like, it's what I do in my orientation calls, which is that's how you always start to say, like, tell me about your community, tell me what you want to see happen, and then basically say, like, here's how NetSquared can help you do what you need to do, which is, some people are like, I want to build a reputation, I'm a new consultant, like, how do I help build up my business and my network? Other people are saying, like, I'm isolated as a nonprofit techie, I'm looking for peers, and you can help them say, like, oh, well, these kinds of events formats may work, so you get to help make that connection, but I have not documented out some of that standard process, which is, as you talk about, helping identify what are the needs, and then filling it. So our job as ambassadors, I think, is to listen, and then say, like, okay, here's how I think we can help you succeed in your community, given its local context, because that's the other core thing about NetSquared, which is it's real ownership, and also it's going to look different in every community, because we know every community is different, and equally so, every organizer has got their own passions. Some people are really excited about social media. I'm like, well, then great, do events about social media. Other people are like, they're like all about IT. I'm like, do the thing that is passionate about you. When I was a new organizer, my first 2 years of events, all the programming was based on what did I want to learn about, what was I struggling with at work. And so NetSquared was my excuse to talk to all the smartest people in town and say, hey, smart person who is really good at, like, Google Analytics, come here and teach me And you're not going to do that unless, but you would if I told you I'm going to bring 20 other people. So it was my excuse to create my own curriculum. And I'm totally fine with that. Like, you need to meet your own needs, or you're not going to be a NetSquared organizer for long. You need to have ownership, or you're not going to do it, because NetSquared does not have huge direct benefits. There's lots of outside benefits around building community, reputation, but it's it's not going to help you find a job. It doesn't have any money attached to it. We don't invest much money in it except for my time and a meetup.com subscription. It is a lightweight